freaking Temple. Temple is amazing. He's he's a very aggressive frame, and I love playing as him. And as I play these different frames, I am going to run them in I am going to run them in different Steel Path missions to show how exactly I make these things work. So for Temple, primary doesn't really matter, at least for me, because of the fact that I'm gonna use the Exalted most of the time. So I'll probably go the Burstin, because if in the off chance I do actually get sent back to using the basic primary, I can have Truth active and have guaranteed gas procs literally everywhere. Coda Dual Toxica, a secondary that acts kind of like a primary is more ideal. So like something. Okay, all right, Bork. Something fast and automatic, because like I said, my Exalt is going to be active most of the time. So that's kind of what I want to funnel usage towards if I need to use my secondary. Melee, I don't want to say melee matters. Because of the fact, like I said, I'm mostly going to be using my guns, especially for a frame like Temple, who's going to be casting his abilities a lot and using those weapons. So I guess I'll just stick with the hate because of the added status damage that it gives, which would probably be good. But nonetheless, pets don't matter as well. Go with whatever you want. Go with something with survivability. Go for something that gives viral. I'm just going I'm just going Todd because it never hurts to proc some extra viral. The reason, ooh, a citrine. Funnily enough, citrine is on the list. I'm not gonna say where, but citrine is on the list. But the reason why I like Temple so much is that he's so aggressive. It's a good cross of aggression, or not aggression, but assault gameplay, and just like, because coming from someone who likes playing rhythm games, and no, I don't mean like stuff like FNF, I don't mean stuff like Osu or whatever, but like just generally speaking, that rhythm mechanic, I love it. I love it a lot, and I love that you get so many good bonuses from hitting it correctly too. It is absolutely amazing. And this is one of the big reasons why I like playing as Temple. And another is that this is an exalted flamethrower. I don't see a lot of frames with exalted freaking primaries, let alone flamethrowers. It's wrestling. And I'm gonna be honest with you. Dagath is also kind of like on the list as well, because she too is like a really aggressive frame. But the thing with her survivability isn't as like consistent as Temple's. Because Temple's survivability, he can just cast an ability and cover everything. Dagath, you kind of have to wait, or you're gonna have to get down to get invincibility. I get it, that's kind of like a saving grace mechanic, but I would still much rather have more consistent survivability rather than just something that I have to rely on whenever I die, which is not something I want to do in a lot of endgame content. But yeah, Temple, I like the rhythm mechanics is nice, and the bonuses it gives is awesome. The fact that he's gonna freaking exalted flamethrower of all things is pretty cool, and the combinations of what you can combine with heat as well, because he's another like heat frame. Well, not heat per se, but rather his abilities involve a lot of heat, and the only Warframe, to my knowledge, that could do that was Ember. I don't count Lavos. Lavos can probably do all the elements if you're... No, he can't. Lavos can do all the elements. But Ember... Temple is another heat frame, which I think is really cool. Heat is a very good status. Because it strips armor and it does damage over time. If you get ability, oh my goodness, I'm all over the place. If you get status damage, heat can actually rack up really nicely, and it scales super well with some other statuses like viral, which is why I ran with Panzer, because enemies inflicted with viral status take more damage from the heat, and the more heat stacks on an enemy, the more damage they take from each tick. So, in my eyes, Temple is like a very good assault frame. If you cast as 4 in time, it's free. Cast as 1 in time, you get extra, if I'm not mistaken, critical chance. His 2 makes enemies more vulnerable to crits, and his 3 just straight up gives you invincibility. Like if I cast it a couple times. And it stacks each time you use it. Stacks each time you use it, and it is absolutely amazing. So I could, if I have my ability cast speed up high enough, then I'll just be. You see, here comes an acolyte. Hang on. What up? It is, yeah. If I was solo, that would kind of take a little longer. But I digress. That was still pretty fast. Because as soon as I hit him with Temples 2, he just fucking disappeared. Because that's a debuff. It's not frame exclusive. Uh-oh. It's not exclusive to the frame itself, or it's not a buff to the frame. It's a debuff to the target, so anybody else can hit their crits against a given target more whenever they get hit with Temples 2. It is amazing. I absolutely love it to bits. This is such a good debuff to have. It actually works against the Hemosite too. Fun fact. That extra critical chance works against the Hemosite as well, which I think is extra funny. Yeah, I currently have Lizzie built for Temple is number 3. I would rock them as a daily driver, but I still kind of don't jive with the survivability that they have, mostly because that it's not that it's inconsistent. It's something that I can cast over and over again, yeah, like this, and gain stupid amounts of invincibility. But at the same time, I've dealt with better. I've definitely had better instances of frames that have a lot more, oh my god, a lot more survivability that aren't tied to an ability. Because that's kind of the only thing that leaves Temple at number 3, survivability being tied to an ability like that. But I would much rather have something that's just oh god, what is it? That's just passive. Something that's just intrinsic. Something that I don't need to kind of actively think about, because I don't actively think about much. I forget. I forget a lot. So having to remember to cast this over and over again is a little more detrimental than I make it out to be. Because if I think about it, which I don't, that's kind of one of my only ways to recover health. And if I forget to cast that every now and then, I'm in for a bad time. But other than that one small nitpick, Temple's very good as a highly aggressive damage frame. His abilities can be really cheap to cast if you sync it with the backbeat. You can make yourself invincible if you get your casting speed up high. And And having his main status slash damage be heat is very, very good. Because that's kind of how Ember's good too. It's because her heat is just a very good status, and it is extremely good on Temple. To the number 2 spot. This guy, Lavos. I'm gonna show how I have each frame before I go into a mission, because I feel like that just make more sense. Lavos is an alchemist, and he doesn't have energy. Yeah, he doesn't have energy, and he is actually really, really amazing, depending on how you build him. I have my Lavos built as more of a weapons platform type of gameplay. I have him built for weapons platform. Well, kinda. I have him built as like a hybrid of weapons platform and just abilities. Then again, isn't that what he mostly is? Into this crowd of enemies here. Oh, yup. Yeah, look at that. I can take a few hits, and then, even better, I have health conversion on him. Because he's going to be making a lot of universal orbs with his 3, and it makes it to where flat armor and damage reduction is a thing. I am well aware that armor doesn't scale well in endgame content, but that is also why I have a... Do I have a blue on him? I think I got a blue on him. I should put one on him. I definitely really should, because he would benefit a lot from it, from the health recovery. We have a Velvet here. It's going to be a little difficult to... Okay. Oh, there we go. The big reason why Lavos is in the number 2 spot is because... Or the reason why Lavos is here is because... Elements! I could just throw whatever element I want. I can throw whatever element I want, and with the way I have them built, that element will linger on my weapons for a little bit. So, if I go an element that the enemy type is weak to, I can deal more damage to them while also inflicting them with the given status from Lavos' abilities. Ooh, this will be good. Like radiation for the Murmur. And Lavos' abilities are also all, like, mostly damage. They're mostly one and done abilities. It's fire and forget. That's what I like to call them. And that is honestly really, really cool. Because he doesn't have energy, and he's purely optimized for offense. Or at least he can be. He can be optimized for offense, he can be optimized for crowd control. It really just boils down to whatever elements you're willing to use. Like, I can use cold if I want enemies to just stop moving. I can use toxin if I wanted them to... Oh, whoops. If I wanted them to... If I'm going against Corpus and I just need something to chip away at their health. I can go... Heck, I could still go toxin because of Archon continuity. It would have corrosive stacks. It strips some armor, it lets me damage them more. Lavos is amazing if you really know what you're doing with him. Which leads me to kind of why he's in the number 2 spot. He's a little technical. Lavos is, definitely takes some learning to get around. Not just with how his abilities work and him on a general basis, but moreover just like... knowing what element does what. Like, cold freezes, heat burns and strips armor. But more importantly, radiation makes enemies turn on each other. Or corrosive just strips armor and it does little to nothing else. Gas makes a little damage bubble around enemy. It's kind of like keeping in mind what each element does while playing as him. So it definitely does take some... It takes some... technicality. Oh, here we go. So I'm going to go with viral, drone, And we're going to try and kill the Acolyte with viral damage. Actually, no, let me go gas. Drench him in gas. There you go. Oh, the status. Yup. Pumping him full of status. People, someone I know actually described Lavos as the better chroma. Whoa, 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 people. An even better reason why I like Lavos is arc guns. Because of his 3 making universal orbs and ammo, he can give arc guns infinite ammo. Like converting ammo bricks into universal bricks is actually extremely good, especially since arc guns got well, not kinda. They got a huge buff with being able to use arcanes. And they didn't just make arc gun arcanes, no, they let you use primary and secondary arcanes, which is a lot better than what we all expected. And arc guns are able to crank out so much bigger damage numbers than before. Oh, Necromech spawned. I'm dealing gas damage now. Yeah, I'll show you. Where's the Necromech? Where's the freaking Necromech? I'm gonna nuke it. Necromech! Oh, he became corrupted just as it hit him. What the hell? Another thing with Archon continuity is you just need to imbue abilities that don't have toxin status or toxin damage with toxin damage, so that they inflict that guaranteed status effect. So you're proccing toxin, heat, or cold, toxin, or electricity, or whatever, and corrosive. I'll do one more round because I really do like playing Lavos. He's super fun, and I just busted out the arc gun, so. Righty. My goodness, just die. Perish. Ipsy Pop, you're a lovely person. I feel like I gotta say that. But nonetheless. Yes, infinite arc gun. And convert all this to universal ammo, and yep. Even more ammo for my arc gun. Alright. So Lavos is in the second spot because the way his abilities work, how he has no energy and is actually resistant to the status type that I hate the most. His survivability is kind of passive. Energy and universal orbs gives Lavos just status immunity for 10 seconds, which can also be used to clear them. So, and combine that with health conversion, with the fact that he can just make orbs on command, he actually comes out to be a pretty solid survivor, while also dishing out the necessary status types and damage that the enemies are weak to, or whatever status types and damage complement your weapons the most. Back to what I was doing. Now, the #1 spot of my favorite Warframe has to be, well, my favorite Warframe to run right now. Of my favorite Warframe that I like playing as is Araxia, Spider Lady. Araxia has to be my favorite, hands down, my favorite freaking frame to play. Just out of all the other frames that I have ever played as. She is amazing. She looks super cool. I love the fact that she's a spider. Spiders help the environment so much. Um, and she gives innate toxin damage to everything, which I also think is really, really good. It's nothing like heat, but toxin still goes through shields and deals damage. So if you have. Fuck! The Trumna itself is already good because it does heat and viral status. It's going to be adding toxin that doesn't combine with heat on top of this. And it's going to be doing double ticks of heat and toxin, and viral is going to increase the damage of both of them. If you have any way, if you are obsessed with heat and viral, then Araxia is one of your ways to go. Because her first drops energy like it's fucking crazy. Her second is very good for CC. Her third gives just basically gives it gives you minions. It gives you a bunch of little minions that are actually kind of tanky and deal quite a bit of damage. But aside from that, her 3 itself does really good damage too. Her 3 does good damage as well. And her 4, her fucking 4 is it makes all your weapons deal toxin damage and presumably status, while also giving you a metric crap ton of health and just making it to where it just makes it so you're more mobile as well, because you can have a freaking hookshot style leap towards wherever you're targeting, and in some cases you can latch onto it if it's not on the ceiling. This build that I have with her is amazing. Equilibrium helps with her 1, which helps health conversion a lot, because armor, a lot of health, kind of have to have it. And I know armor doesn't fare well in further endgame content, but keep in mind, she has a lot of health. She's got a fuck ton of health. A bigger reason why armor doesn't work most of the time is because most frames that have all that armor have lower health. Well, I say lower health, but if you look at like Valkyr has a fuck ton of armor, which gives diminishing returns. I'm well aware, but still, that's a lot. This is a lot. But all that health, since this does give diminishing returns, the health isn't gonna be too great because of the fact that it's only like 2200. Inaros works a little better. He's got more health, but he doesn't get as much armor. But Araxia can get so much armor with health conversion, and so much value out of that armor too, because she has a lot of health for the enemies to chew through. Even if you start getting melted, you'll be well aware of your limits and when you can stay or not, because of the fact of how much health you're losing. It is amazing. And even then, with some finagling, you can you can dump your, well, no, that's besides the point. You can use Arcane Grace in one of the slots, and you would be essentially fucking invincible, because you have so much health with all that armor. It all boils down to just the armor and how much your health can take before Arcane Grace procs. And it procs pretty consistently because of all the fucking health. It's the health. Araxia is all about the health. The health is always it's always that's what it is. Because it multiplies with Silken Stride. Arcane Blessing also gives you a lot of more health. And with Silken Stride, you can get up to, 10k health with over 1450 armor, which doesn't seem like much in the face of other frames, but it is still very, very good. I freaking love it. I love it to bits. I love playing as Araxia. Her playstyle is aggressive. She's kind of self-sustaining. And she's got quite a bit of status under her belt. And with the way I have her Archon shards, which aren't required for any builds, I want to stress that. Archon shards aren't required for builds, they just make things better for the frame itself. When I use Archon Shards, I want to use Archon Shards that are good for the frame and not for a build. And if they're just good for a build, then that's kind of that's an added bonus, which probably would be par for the course considering the fact that if you're bettering the frame, you're making a build better too. But I digress. I have 3 shards for health and 2 greens. 1 for ability damage on enemies affected by corrosive status, and another for toxin status effects dealing 45% more damage, which combine those 2 and Archon Continuity. Sorry. And oh my god, she actually deals damage. Big deeps. Big deeps. Big deeps from Spider-Woman. The weapons? Not quite sure. Oh, and, by the way, weapons with Lavos. Whatever you feel like is going to suit best, concerning your playstyle, honestly. I don't like pulling that card, but that's generally what boils down with Lavos. Go, you probably want hybrid / high status weapons with him. But that aside, the weapons with Araxia, I like to go with either the Trumna, the Burston, or the Tenet Glaxian, or the better Torrid. Because, keep in mind, her 4 is going to give you toxin damage. And with a weapon that pumps out a lot of status, that's really good. Because the Tenet Glaxian, the way I have it built, is going to just stack on so many heat procs that the enemies just take chunks of damage from the heat procs, and the toxin also kind of helps with that. For my secondary, I usually run either the Furus with its Incarnon, the Coda Catabolist, the Coda Torxica, or the Sonoid Gamma Core. Because the extra energy does do a little better with my more expensive build that I have on her. But I'll just keep with the Coda Duo Torxica, because hell yeah, I love this thing. Melee doesn't matter. Melee doesn't matter because I'm going to be in my 4 most of the time, so I guess I'll just go with... yeah, I'll just go with the freaking... the Enotum. I'll go with the Enotum. Fuck it. I need this. And now... Ha 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 ha! Oh, fun fact. A shortcut to your 1? Just press your melee button. That's why I said melee doesn't really matter. Mind you, I'm assuming that people who are going to be watching this don't have much of a clue on the frames that I'm using. Or are just curious about it and want to know how they work. So, it's kind of why I'm dumbing things down so much. Look at that. Look at that! The toxin, I saw it tick before Citrine came in. Dude, look at that. Look at how much that toxin's doing! That is insane. Uh-oh! Didn't mean to do that. Alright, I win. I'm out of here. Ah! I don't like this map. Oh, everything died. Nope. Get out of my way. I'm sick and tired of you getting in my way. I don't like it when things are in my way. Now everything dies. Oh, you shouldn't have.
Finish your mission and we'll take
and this is why I like Araxia. Look at my health. Look at my fucking health. I have 20k health. I'm gonna grab this crud that the Acolyte dropped. Didn't teleport to me, because go figure. And she's immune to status while in her 4. And I think that's just very nice. Araxia is in the #1 spot because she's got really good survivability that I don't have to think about. She has a fuck ton of health which is a part of her survivability that I don't have to think about. Uh, she has really high damage status, and just generally speaking, active abilities, very active abilities. And she can also be a weapons platform with how much toxin she pumps into weapons. She's amazing. That is why I love her. Also, spiders are cool. But nonetheless, I do plan on uploading this to YouTube. So, to anybody over watching on YouTube, if you want to see, if you really want to see what else I have to say about the frames that I play and the builds that I make, head on over to Twitch. Head on over to my Twitch. It'll be linked in my profile, and I will see all of you there. I stream, and yes, that is also the stream. By the way, that the stream is ending. I feel like I'm having trouble establishing that for some reason. But yeah, those are the frames that I play. Then that's the type of gameplay that I like. That being said, thank you for stopping by. I appreciate you taking time out of your day, live viewer or VOD watcher. And I will see all of you later. Thank you for thank you for pulling through with my shenanigans. And goodbye.